loves butts and erotica. What's going on, YouTube? So I'm guessing you've heard about the show Bob's Burgers, right? Yeah, you've heard of it. Basically, Bob's Burgers is a show about a humble and hairy man named Bob Belcher, his oddball yet loving family, and the burger joint they try to keep afloat. And to be honest, when I first heard about this show, I wasn't really intrigued by what it had to offer. I mean, it's not the most original thing out there. I mean, what makes it stand out? Because there are two shows that obviously have been around for much longer that share a lot of similarities. That being The Simpsons and Family Guy. Growing up, I was a big Family Guy fan. The first episode I'd ever seen was when Peter had run home from the beer factory with the golden ticket, kind of like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And he'd fell and he just kept doing this. And I was cracking up, and ever since then, I've been a big Family Guy fan. Yeah, it's changed a lot over the years since the first or second season, but it's what I grew up watching. And of course, you can't forget about The Simpsons. I mean, it's literally been on for 27 seasons. That's insane. And even though I wasn't the biggest fan, I didn't watch it religiously, you cannot deny why it's been on for so long. It had a true sense of community and reoccurring characters that you come to know and love. It's the pioneer of a lot of animated shows nowadays, and of course it displays the family dysfunction that's both funny and somewhat relatable. And then there's Bob's Burgers. So what makes it stand out and what makes it any different? And to be honest, right off the bat, there are major similarities. Let's start with the families. All three shows have the mother, the father, the three kids, and are all part of the middle lower class. You have the father, who isn't the brightest of the bunch. He has the job, and he's kind of the main character that the show's loosely based around. The moms are all quirky. They have really odd, distinct voices. And while they are the backbone of the family and mostly take care of the kids, they have a darker, wild side to them that they offer to the table. And I gotta say, although The Simpsons also has three kids, I see much more similarities between Family Guy's kids and Bob's Burgers kids. Starting with the oldest daughter, she's very awkward, unattractive, unpopular, wears glasses. And then you have the middle son, who's overweight, obnoxious, inappropriate, and kind of lovable in their own way. And last, there is the youngest child, who is diabolical, has a sinister side, and has the most attitude, very strong personality. And they also have a slight turbulent relationship with their mom. So again, the question is, why watch Bob's Burgers? Well, after sitting down to watch a few episodes, I kind of ended up watching all 4 seasons. And I have to say, I understand why the show has become so successful, despite its obvious similarities. I can't say I was laughing out loud a lot while watching this show, like how I do with Family Guy, but what made me keep watching is that I sincerely cared about this family. The writing of this show creates true intimacy and makes this family seem very real. With Bob's Burgers, the laughs from this show just come from the characters being themselves. I ended up liking all the characters from the Belcher family and saw them as unique individuals. Starting out with Bob, he's a really chill and humble kind of guy. And despite his family kind of getting on his nerves a lot, he's very supportive and patient at most times. He's very dedicated to his kids and his wife and keeping his business afloat. He always defends his family, especially from Jimmy Pesto and his pizzeria across the street. And he's a hard-working businessman that truly loves what he does, cooking awesome burgers. And side note, yes, his voice is exactly the same as Archer. It's the same actor who plays the voice. And after a while, you get used to it. Yeah, right off the bat, it's like really distracting, but over time, I'd start to hear Bob and not Archer. And then there's Linda, who is a firecracker of a woman, whose annoying voice you just can't help but love over time. She's a great mother, a supportive and fun wife. She's never afraid to express herself, and she lets her kids express themselves exactly how they choose. Oh, and she loves musical theater. And she loves singing despite how she sounds. And then there's Tina, who's my personal favorite. Yeah, on the surface she's super awkward and is considered the weird girl at school. And she mumbles a lot with the weirdest voice that I find hilarious. But then you realize she's so true to herself, and she's got some spunk from Linda, her mom. She loves butts and erotica, and she doesn't necessarily keep that a secret. She knows what she wants and who she wants. whether that being ponies and horses, which she's kind of obsessed with, or Jimmy Jr. and his cool dance skills. She's so brave about it in her own way. And for a teenager, she's kind of strange and really awkward, but she seems to be okay with it, which is really refreshing to see a teenager be so sure of themselves, especially in a TV show. They're not as cruel to her like they are with Meg. Despite how off Tina is, she's a truly unique and awesome character. Gene is the loud, obnoxious one of the family. He's outspoken, and he has a talent for music and creating songs out of random noises and sounds. He's extremely honest and really open-minded for someone his age about sexuality and gender roles. He's not judgmental, and he doesn't hold back at the opportunity to be creative. And last but not least, there's Louise. She's the spunkiest of them all with the most attitude, and you don't mess with her. She's got a sharp tongue, she's fierce, she can be a little cynical at times. She's not girly. She's kind of the tomboy that would rather be adventurous than have sleepovers with her girlfriends or daughter's day out with her mom. She's ambitious, she knows what she wants, and possibly one day she could be owning Bob's Burgers after her father. So is Bob's Burgers any good? I'm gonna have to say yes. It's organically funny, it's down to earth, it has really funny and thoughtful writing. You can tell the writers really care about this show. It's really creative with its music and its end credits, which are never the same, which is really cool and original. And despite the obvious family dysfunction, you find yourself really caring about this family and you want to see more of them. While the premise of this show isn't necessarily the most original thing out there, Bob's Burgers successfully creates their own individual mark in the animated shows around these days, and it's likely that the Belchers are here to stay.